Welcome everyone to another edition of a CollegeSportsMadness.com video blog. My name is Zach Bai and I'm one of the basketball broadcasters at the University of Albany. And today I'm going to be talking some college hoops in the scope of the America East Conference, the same team in which UAlbany plays. And right now, a little bit more than halfway through the conference schedule, if you look at the standings, it's pretty much identical to the same way it shaped up last year, top to bottom, with the exception of two bottom-of-the-barrel teams switched. Stony Brook at the top of the league, and Vermont right behind them nipping on their heels, with the bottom of the league being rounded out by Binghamton. But let's start at the top of the league with a tough Stony Brook Seawolves team right now at 7-1 in the league and 16-5 overall. And not just because their schedule says so or that they're at the top of the standings. The Seawolves, to me, I believe are the best team in the league for a couple reasons. One, point blank, and it's going to sound a little bit elementary, but I think they have the best players in the league. They have the most talent assembled, and they're well coached under Steve Pikiell. He's got all these kids to buy in to what goes on at Stony Brook basketball, and they stole some top recruits throughout the years and have some mainstays who are in their junior and senior season and really have that program moving in the right direction. And you have to mention, when talking about Stony Brook, Tommy Brenton. He is, to me, the best overall player in the league. He's not going to score the most points or wow you with a SportsCenter top 10 play, but the fact of the matter is, when it comes to basketball IQ and playmaking ability, Tommy Brenton, the senior forward, or point forward as I'd like to classify him as, has it all. He made national headlines last week against Maine where he had a triple-double over only the second triple-double in Division I basketball this season. That's a whole lot of players that are eligible to get that. 347 Division I teams, about 12 to 13 guys a roster. And Tommy Brenton goes out against Maine, 15 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists. And that's really a microcosm of what Tommy Brenton's been doing in the America East for a number of years now. Last year, he was first team all-conference selection. This season, only him and UAlbany's Mike Black are the only two players to be all-consensus first-teamers, voted by the opposing coaches and sports information directors. But he is the alpha male on that Stony Brook team. But it's not just him. They have a stud recruit who's only a freshman, Jameel Warney, at the center position. This is a kid coming out of high school who had a whole bunch of scholarship offers. He was actually looked at and offered late by Iowa out of the Big Ten, but chose to stay loyal to his Stony Brook commitment. And he has been dynamite for Steve Pikiell and his group at the center position. He's physical, he's got touch, he hits the glass, he's a hard-nosed player. And this is a guy in Jameel Warney who I believe through the next 3 or 4 years here is going to be not only an all-conference player, but a potential player of the year in years to come. And then when you combine Tommy Brenton and Jameel Warney with other players like Dave Coley, players of that nature who fit into the system, who on any given night can give you 15 to 20 points, but have no problem in taking that back seat to those other alpha males. That's certainly been a recipe for success for Stony Brook. As you see, it's working this season so far as they sit at the top of the league. Right behind Stony Brook is the University of Vermont, a team which has controlled this conference more or less through the past 10 years on and off. Really has always had their hand in that top of the league, and here they are again in 2012-13. Vermont finished second in the league last year, made it to the conference championship game at Stony Brook with the number 2 seed, and ended up knocking off the Seawolves in their own building and going on to the NCAA tournament where they beat Lamar in the first round. But this is a Vermont team who lost some pieces in the offseason, but really comes back as a re-energized group led by Brian Vokel. And Brian Vokel is a player who, like Tommy Brenton, and I've referred to him during our UAlbany broadcast, is almost Tommy Brenton's little brother. He's a big, muscular kid. He's another point forward who does a lot of the ball handling for Vermont, and not maybe in terms of bringing the ball up the court, but once they're in the half court, he really makes their show go. He's a patient kid who's extremely physical, very strong, and his IQ for the game, like Brenton's, is off the charts. And you're talking about a kid who last season was named America East in the conference tournament MVP, and he only averaged 4 points a game. I challenge you to go find in any other conference the MVP of their conference tournament who only averaged 4 points a game. But what Brian Vokel brings to the table is so much more than points. Right now in the conference, Vokel is not a top 20 scorer. This is only a 9-team conference. He's not in the top 20 scorers, but what he is, he's a 4th leading rebounder. He's number 1 in assists. He's 2nd in the entire American East in steals, and he's 2nd in assist to turnover ratio. Smart decisions is what Vermont basketball is all about. Throughout the years, this is a very systematic team. This is a patient team that's going to get in you defensively and take good shots offensively within what they do on that end of the floor, and that starts and finishes with Brian Vokel, and he's got other pieces around him too, the Clancy Ruggs, Sandra Carissimo, Ethan O'Day, who are certainly contributors, and like Stony Brook on any given night could be a 15 to 20 point scorer, but night in and night out they follow the lead of Brian Vokel, and he's led them pretty good so far, right now in 2nd place with a 7-2 record. And really the only team that's beat Stony Brook so far this season. So that's telling. It's something to keep an eye on moving forward as we come down the home stretch of America East play and into the conference tournament. In 3rd place, you have Boston University, just like last season. Stony Brook, Vermont, Boston, right now at 5-3. This is a talented Boston team. It is noteworthy that the Terriers of BU will not play in the America East Conference Tournament in Albany this March 8th through 10th because they have opted to jump to the Patriot League next season, and they are disqualified from conference play. They would be a tough out, though, if they were playing in Albany during the first half of March. And this is a team that I think really is going to compete for a Patriot League title next year, just like that. Although DJ Irving, their alpha male, who is a senior, who's one of the leading scorers in the America East, will be graduated, Maurice Watson Jr. is the future of BU basketball. Just a freshman this year, one of the top 20 scorers in the conference. He's a double-digit guy night in and night out. And pound for pound, one of the best young guards I've seen in this league in a number of years. He's out of Philadelphia, and he went to public school out there, and he's the 2nd all-time leader in points when it comes to the public school records in Philadelphia. In his last couple of games, actually passed Wilt Chamberlain on that all-time list. This kid can score the ball. Was offered a host of scholarship offers, decided to say semi-close regionally to Philly, and he's at Boston right now and has them going in the right direction too. Just uber talented and still learning to rein it in a little bit and control himself, but this is a kid, once he figures it out, is going to be a huge problem in this league, or in the Patriot League, as he's been in the America East this season, and as is Boston. And were they not jumping to the Patriot League, as I mentioned, they would be a tough out, and they were tough on anyone's conference schedule again. And right in the 4th place, just like last year, UAlbany. Now, they were voted 4th by the opposing coaches in the preseason poll, and their a non-conference record leading up to the America East schedule was indicating that they were much, much better than 4th in the league. They were 11-3 coming into America East play. Since then, have sort of dropped off in a lot of people's eyes. They're 5-4 in the league right now. Still one of their best start in their Division I history since transitioning in 1999. They do have the pieces, I do still believe, to win this conference tournament, especially since you consider that it is in Albany, and a home court advantage in a conference tournament is so huge, and when the atmosphere is so thick with tension, you could cut it with a knife. I've been there as a player, I've been there now as a broadcaster, and really the whole season starts new. Albany has struggled this is noteworthy against the top teams in this league for a number of years now. Your Bostons, your Stony Brooks, your Vermonts. They've had problems getting over that hump. They had Boston dead in the water just a week ago, up 6 with about 12 or 13 seconds left. DJ Irving goes Reggie Miller in Madison Square Garden, this time in Albany, and hits back-to-back threes, sends the game into overtime. They go perfect from the field in overtime and get that win, steal it against Albany. But it's been things like that that have kept Albany from knocking off these top teams in the America East. But that being said, that has them still at the top of the conference with Stony Brook, Vermont, and Boston. Where in the tournament anything can happen. So right behind you, Albany, is Hartford at 4-4. This is a young team that's well coached. I think they have a ton of talent. They start nothing but sophomores and freshmen. Of their 7 guys that play, I believe there's only 1 junior in that playing group. This is a Hartford team where I don't expect them to go to the NCAA tournament this year and win the conference tournament, or even make it to the America East conference final, but keep an eye on this Hartford team. In the next 365 days, I could sit here and be saying something totally different about the Hartford Hawks, but their direction right now, to me, can't be confused. They're certainly moving in that right direction, right where you want to be and competing at the top of the league. And then the bottom 4 teams, Maine, UMBC, the University of New Hampshire, and Binghamton, still fighting to get out of that bottom 4 cluster as they seem to be stuck in year in and year out, at least in the last number of years. Well, we're about a little bit more than halfway through the conference schedule, and it seems at this point, well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Stony Brook and Vermont jockeying for position at the top of the league, but really in a one-bid conference, you and I both know that you try to get your best positioning as far as seeding, but ultimately each team will be judged on what they do in the SEFCU Arena in Albany, New York, March 8th through the 10th, and see if they can vie for that one bid to go into the NCAA tournament, as Vermont did last year and as Boston University did the year before. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Zach Bai. A special thanks to CollegeSportsMadness.com for having me. I hope to catch you next time.